comes to motorcycle audio, Diamond Audio has certainly been a key player in the market, but big news, guys. They have come up with some really cool and higher performance upgrades to their speaker lineup. We go now to their product development director, John Catalano. John, welcome to the CMA Live Show once again. We've got some cool products to show everybody, but let's talk a little bit about your role and what this has meant into developing categories like motorcycle audio.
Hey, Ben, thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be able to develop new products. You start with an idea and then you work it through all the process. We've been fortunate to be really on the forefront of the motorcycle audio trend and to look at what's transpired through the years and then become where we are and then take that and then step it up even more. So this is the culmination of a few years of development to improve and increase all of the things that are great about our motorcycle audio products.
Well, John, I got to say, just looking at the pure amount of gear that you have behind you lets me know that you've been really hard at work. But hey, let's get into it. Title of today's episode is Diamond Audio introduces new ultra performance speakers. So we're talking speakers, and more specifically, we're going to go through two lines of speakers. The first one we're going to talk about is the very popular HXM series, which is now being called the HXM Black series. John, walk us through a little bit about the progression from the original HXM and what we're going to be showing folks today.
All right, Ben. So we have the HXM, the original HXM here. It's a very nice driver, fully waterproof. It has, as you can see here, it has a secondary surround that actually keeps the voice coil waterproof, and then our titanium tweeter. So this was a great driver. Unfortunately, it was originally designed for marine. It happened to work in motorcycle. And the installers started migrating to use this over into the motorcycle world, and it worked great. It has LEDs, it lights up, but the drawbacks were that, again, it was originally designed for marine, so this has a spot for a grill. And unfortunately, in a motorcycle application, a lot of times these are underside mounted. So we had to come up with a gasket to kind of seal this off, which makes it a little bit cumbersome to install. So we looked at those things, and our feedback from the field was, we like these, but not all the motorcycle guys like that the cone is white. Some of the motorcycle guys don't care about the LEDs, so they don't even hook that up. So, where could we improve on this to make it more for the motorcycle? And that's where the HXM Black comes in. So just quickly, a little side-by-side comparison. As you can see, the tweeter is 50% larger. It's made for flush mounting, or back mounting, I should say. We've gone from a polycone to a carbon fiber cone. So all these things on the new driver increase efficiency, make it louder, increase the low end response. It doesn't have LEDs because a lot of the guys on the motorcycles don't care about that. They want the performance. So this is performance optimized. It's also lightweight because this is a fiber reinforced composite basket with a neodymium motor structure. So even the crossover and everything's inside here. You can almost see it through the grill there. So everything's self-contained. Makes installation easier, and the performance is increased. You get better sound, a lot extended low end, and a lot more dynamic range because you have twice the size tweeter in there. So huge performance upgrade for the guys that like the HXM. They're really going to love the HXM Black.
All right, so we're talking about the brand new, soon to be released HXM Black series, as John has mentioned. Already very successful with their previous generation, but the new one certainly has some big improvements. The big takeaways here, John, this is a new design that's optimized for installers, especially because it's a flush mount that you can, attach from the bottom and not have to have that gasket like you mentioned. A brand new cone material in carbon fiber, so we're going to expect better excursion, a little bit stiffer, more output. And of course, an oversized tweeter, which will also help with the higher end frequencies, and not to mention an overall lightweightness to it and shallow. I mean, this for sure, when I look at that speaker, John, it definitely screams motorcycle audio to me.
Yeah, so the drivers are optimized for the motorcycle. And with that being said, even this driver right here is perfect for the 24 up bikes because they're very difficult to work with. It's a lot shallower pod in the fairing, so these are very shallow drivers. So this could drop right in without having to really modify the bike in any way, and you get that performance upgrade. Even if you were doing this off, because they're efficient, even if you were using just the original factory power, if you didn't want to upgrade right away to add an amplifier, this is going to give you more output just from that factory. And these are all available in 2 and 4 ohm. So again, if you're just doing the factory upgrade, 2 ohm is what the factory speakers are. So you're going to get that full amplifier power.
Now, as mentioned at the top of the show, we are going to deliver 2 new series coming to you from Diamond Audio for motorcycle audio in particular. We just covered the up-and-coming HXM Black Series, redesigned for Generation 2. Now let's go into the very popular classic Neo series, the MS Neo series. To be specific, we're going to be talking about, well, coaxials. That's right, MS Neo now coming to you with a coax format. But to get a little bit more information, I think John's going to show us the original one and see where it has evolved from there.
All right, so we kind of came on the scene in motorcycle audio with this coax horn, right? So mid-bass driver, horn-loaded tweeter, bi-ampable, so you can run the mid-range separate from the tweeter, being field serviceable. So this diaphragm, because guys are pretty much on a motorcycle, it's on or off. There's no volume control. They just want it. They're either riding and it's jamming or it's off. So if you happen to take out the tweeter, you get a little too zealous with that volume control, you can just swap the diaphragm out, so you don't have to replace the whole driver. That makes it very convenient. So this is what kind of solidified Diamond as the motorcycle audio brand. This driver, our most popular driver. The drawback is this horn acts like, if you have it in a horizontal mounting, it's basically a basket, so it's not waterproof. So you have to be conscious of that. We came out with a membrane that you can go over that, but it's aesthetically it's not the best, right? So there's that, and then we went to the upgrade. If you wanted even more, these are fully waterproof. Are MS Neo. So these drivers were, and still are, the pinnacle of what you could put on a motorcycle. The Neo motor structure, the carbon fiber cone. These have been copied by many other brands, but nobody copied them to make them better. They just copied them and tried to make them cheaper. So they're still the pinnacle on the market. But we looked at what could we do to improve them? Well, most of the time what they do is they match our Neo driver with this separate tweeter, and then they make a grill or something to make it basically into a coax, right? They mount it here or off to the side or in a different spot to be able to pair these so you have full range. Well, of course, the logical thing to do is to put them together. So we have our MS Neo driver, coaxial mounted with a brand new fully waterproof horn. So there's a membrane underneath this grill. So you get the performance of this and this together in one package. And you save a little bit of money, and the install is a lot easier because you don't have to cut the grill. You don't have to find a separate mounting point for the tweeter. These are also field serviceable, like I mentioned earlier. So it allows you to bi-amp this, which if you're using, let's say you're using our radio, you can utilize the internal power to drive the tweeter, and we have 2 ohm versions of these, so you can run this at 2 ohms to the head unit, so you'd have 50 watts RMS crossed over on the tweeter, and then you can save your amplifier power to run the mid-range. So very, very flexible installation options going with the coaxial but bi-ampable style speaker. We're really excited about these. They sound amazing. It's really hard to grasp what a jump from the old ones to these are, because the old ones are so good and still are, and a lot of people will still use them because those are flexible. But If you just want an easy way to upgrade and have all the performance of those two drivers, this is the route to go.
I must say, John, very impressive and logical evolution for the MS Neo line. Love the new waterproof tweeter. Love the fact that they're field serviceable, which is very practical. And that BIAM trick, hey, listen, we don't ever want to waste any resources or power on a motorcycle. So that is a great suggestion to be able to also use the power coming off your aftermarket source unit to be able to power that as well in a bi-ampable configuration. All right. To wrap this up, we're talking new HXM Black Series, brand new Msneocoax speaker. What are the timelines on these two new products, and where should people go to get more info?
Well, Ben, we're really excited to be able to tell you that these are landing as we speak, so they should be available by time this airs. I would highly recommend you go to diamondaudio.com, check out the specs, but I assure you, you will be pleased if you put these in any install that you decide that they're worthy.